My girlfriend lied about being pregnant so I wouldn't leave hers, so I faked forgiveness. Recorded everything, then destroyed her life in front of her family. I'm a 28-year-old guy. Now I was ready to break up with my girlfriend after 2 rocky years. Not because I didn't care about her. I did. I loved her, at least the version of her I fell for in the beginning. But that version disappeared somewhere between our second screaming match and the 4th time she went through my phone looking for proof I was cheating. The truth. I never even looked at another girl. But she never trusted me. Not once. Every day felt like walking on glass. She'd be sweet in the morning, then explode over a missed text an hour later. Apologize with tears, then threaten to leave if I didn't prove I loved her enough. It was emotional whiplash. I lost weight. Stopped seeing friends. My sleep was wrecked. But I kept telling myself, relationships are hard, right? Still, that night, I'd had enough. It was past midnight. We were sitting in silence on the couch after another argument won over me liking my cousin's dog picture on Instagram. I turned to her and finally said, I think we need to take a break. This isn't working. She didn't speak for a second. Then, in the most controlled voice I'd ever heard from her, she whispered, I'm pregnant. My heart stopped. I stared at her. What? She nodded slowly, tears forming. I just found out. I was going to tell you, but I didn't want you to think I was trapping you. The irony didn't even register until much later. In that moment, my mind went blank. Everything I'd planned to say vanished. All I could think was, if I leave now, I'm the villain. My gut twisted. Something about it felt wrong, too sudden, too clean. But guilt is a powerful thing, so I stayed, even though something deep inside me whispered, you just made the biggest mistake of your life. The next morning, it was like she flipped a switch. She made pancake switch. She never did. Dan kissed me on the forehead, like nothing had happened the night before. I looked it up, she said, placing a vitamin bottle next to my coffee. I should start prenatal supplements today. I blinked at the label. I hadn't even processed the word dad yet. And here she was, acting like we were already picking out names. By noon, her entire family knew. I got congratulatory texts from her mom, her sister, even her cousin in Ohio. Her group chat exploded with emojis. And somehow, every single person seemed to think I was thrilled. WASN single quotes. T inside. I was numb. Stuck between this doesn't feel right and what if it's true. She handed me a pregnancy test she'd taken positive. Faint line, but when I asked about going to a doctor, she hesitated. I just want to wait a few more weeks. It's too early. Stress can cause a miscarriage, she said, gripping my hand. Stress. That word became her favorite weapon. She started giving me rules. No going out with friends, especially the ones she didn't like. No staying late at work, it worries me. No spicy food in the house. No loud music. No gaming. Because the screen time messes with her sleep. It didn't feel like co-parenting. It felt like control with a new label. When I tried to gently push back, she'd say, "You want to risk the baby's health? Is that who you are?" And I'd freeze because I didn't know. Was I a monster for having doubts? Every night, I lay in bed beside her, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe. And I'd think, if this is what fatherhood feels like, why does it feel more like prison than purpose? But I didn't leave, because leaving a pregnant woman would make me the bad guy. 3 weeks crawled by, and something just didn't add up. No morning sickness. No weird cravings. No complaints about back pain or nausea. She still downed iced coffee every morning like she used to, and scarfed down sushi during our Saturday takeout night. When I asked if that was okay, she rolled her eyes and said, "1 cup won't kill the baby." The weirdest part? No doctor, No blood test. No ultrasound. Every time I brought it up, she got defensive-aggressive even. I told you, it's too early, she snapped one night. You think I don't know my own body? I backed off, but the alarms in my head started screaming. I waited until she was in the shower and checked her phone. She had no lock. She never thought she needed one. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for, but what I found made my stomach twist. No appointments. No messages to clinics. Just a few vague searches. How long can you go without seeing a doctor during pregnancy? Pregnancy symptoms too fake for boyfriend. Is it normal to not show at 6 weeks? My fingers went cold. Later that week, her best friend came over. I stepped outside for a smoke and overheard them through the cracked window. You haven't told him yet, right? Her friend whispered. I did already, my girlfriend said. It's done. The friend sounded confused. What, you're really pregnant? Silence. I walked away before I heard more. Not because I didn't want to, but because I was afraid of what I might do if I kept listening that night. I opened the Notes app on my phone and started journaling. Every lie. Every detail. Every red flag. I gave the file a name, If I Go Crazy, because I needed to remember I wasn't imagining this. That night, I didn't sleep. I just lay there staring at the ceiling fan, going over every lie, every manipulative little game she'd played. The pieces were all there. She wasn't pregnant. She never was. And she used that lie to trap me, to keep me in this toxic, claustrophobic relationship with no exit. The next morning, I looked her dead in the eyes and said, I'm sorry I've been distant. I even held her hand. This is big. I freaked out, but I want to be here for you. For the baby, her whole face softened. She practically melted into me, whispering, I knew you'd come around. And that's when I knew I had her. I suggested we start documenting everything. For the memories, I said. Maybe even for our future kid to see one day. She beamed, acting like I'd just proposed. I started taking videos, voice memos, photos of her pretending to rub her belly after meals. I even recorded a video of her fake crying in the bathroom after pretending to feel nauseous. Every file went into a locked folder named Memories. She never questioned it. She was too busy enjoying the control again, but the betrayal, it burned. Every time she smiled at me with that fake glow, every time she curled up against me like she'd won, it made my stomach turn. I hated pretending. I hated how good. I was getting at it, but I needed more. Proof, patterns, leverage. Because this wasn't just about catching her in a lie anymore. This was about exposing her. I started writing everything down, even the way she said certain words when she lied. Every trust me, every you're overthinking. I cataloged it all, because if she wanted to fake a life with me, then I'd fake one right back. Until I was ready to bury hers. Her family thought she was a saint. Every time we visited, it was the same story. Her dad would slap me on the back and say, you better hold on to this one, she's special. Her mom would smile like we were some picture-perfect couple in a Hallmark movie. They acted like I'd won the damn lottery. But what they didn't know, what they refused to see, was how she twisted everything behind closed doors. I overheard her once on the phone with her sister. He's just been off lately, she said, her voice soft and fake, concerned. I think he's depressed, maybe a little unstable. Clingy, too. I think he's scared of being a dad. That word unstable stuck to my ribs, like tar. Then came the dinner. Her parents had invited us over for Sunday night family time. I almost backed out. But she insisted, and I knew if I wanted this to end my way, I had to keep playing the part. Halfway through the meal, between the roast chicken and the mashed potatoes, she stood up and clinked her glass. I have something to share, she said, all glowing cheeks and fake humility. I'm pregnant. The room erupted. Her mom shrieked. Her dad jumped up to hug her. Her sister started crying. Everyone kept saying, "You two are going to be amazing parents." Someone even toasted to the future little one. I forced a smile, raised my glass, nodded when they said, "I must be over the moon." But inside, I was boiling. I looked around at all these people, these blind cheerleaders, celebrating a fantasy I knew was built on manipulation. And that's when it hit me. If I wanted to break her, it had to happen right here, with an audience, where the lie lived. A week after the family dinner, I made the call. I waited until she left for a grocery run, locked myself in the bedroom, and dialed the number on an old Obgone card I found buried in her nightstand. I had no idea if they'd even talk to me, but I played the concerned partner card. Told the receptionist I was helping schedule her first prenatal appointment and needed to know her last visit. The woman on the phone typed for a bit, then said, "We haven't seen her in over 2 years. I felt my stomach tighten. Has she called recently? Sent over any labs or tests?" "Nope," she replied casually. "No contact since her last pap." "Would you like to schedule something?" My hands were sweating. Yeah, actually. Let's go ahead and book a first ultrasound." I gave them a date and time. Hung up, stared at the wall, and I smiled. When she got home, I greeted her with enthusiasm. Told her I'd done something spontaneous, that I'd booked our first ultrasound because I wanted to be more involved. Her eyes widened. "What? You scheduled it?" "Yeah," I said, playing it perfectly. "Thought it'd be sweet. They had an opening. Isn't it exciting?" She hesitated, just for a second. But that second told me everything. "I don't think they'll see me yet," she said quickly, brushing past me. "It's too early. They usually wait until after the 8th week. It might not show anything. We should cancel." "But you said you were 6 weeks along," I replied, tilting my head. Her lips parted like she wanted to speak, but nothing came out. That's when I knew, with absolute certainty. She had no plan past the lie, no script for this moment, and I had her exactly where I wanted her. I could have ended it right there. I had enough proof her hesitation, the phone call, the non-existent medical records. But something in me wasn't satisfied with just knowing the truth. I wanted her to drown in her own lie, so I leaned in hard. The next day, I came home with baby books. What to expect when you're expecting some parenting magazine bundles, even a pregnancy journal. I set them on the table with a dumb grin and said, "Thought it'd be cute if we documented this journey together." She beamed. "Al, babe, that's so sweet." I painted one of the guest bedroom walls a soft yellow. Ordered a crib from Facebook Marketplace. Started telling my family the big news, because if this plan was going to work, everyone had to believe I was in it. Her lies exploded after that first. It was, "I think it's twins." I've been feeling extra tired lately. Then it was sudden cravings pickles at 2 a.m., vanilla milkshakes before bed. One night, she cried because I brought home the wrong brand of string cheese. She started patting her clothes, slowly. At first, just a little under her hoodie, then noticeably bulking up around her stomach. She'd even press her hand against it and whisper things like, "I think I felt a flutter today." I nodded, smiled, kissed her forehead. But every act, every fake flinch, every craving, every invented symptom I documented. Screenshots, photos, voice memos, even security cam clips from our doorbell when she'd go out in leggings. No bump at all. She was building a fantasy, and I was quietly collecting the receipts, because if she wanted to lie her way into a fake family, then I'd build her a stage, just big enough for her fall. She started to sense it. Maybe it was how I stopped asking questions, or how I smiled too easily. Maybe she caught the way I looked at her, not with love, but with something colder, sharper, calculating. Whatever it was, she knew the walls were closing in, so she played her final card. The one she knew would break me. I was at work when she called, sobbing so hard I could barely make out the words. I fell. She choked. I was reaching for something on the top shelf and slipped. I'm bleeding. I think I lost the baby. The room spun around me, even though I knew. Even though I'd seen every sign, every fake symptom, every lie, hearing those words still shattered something inside me. I rushed home. She was curled up on the couch, face buried in a towel, soaked with crocodile tears. No blood, no bruises. Just mascara-streaked cheeks and a trembling voice. It just happened so fast. 1 second I was pregnant, and now I'm not. I held her, because that's what she expected, because that's what a good man would do. But inside, I felt hollow, not just because she'd faked the worst pain a couple could go through, not just because she used death to cover her tracks, but because for a moment, mourned. A child that never existed. Mourned the version of myself that believed her. Mourned the trust I gave so freely, and in that grief, something changed. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't scared. I was done. Not just with her, but with pretending. She thought the miscarriage would end the lie. Tie it off neatly. Let her escape clean. But what she didn't know, that fall wasn't the end. It was the trigger. I let myself unravel on the outside, stopped shaving, left dirty dishes in the sink, sat on the couch for hours, staring at nothing. She'd walk in and see me like that, slouched over with blank eyes, and I could tell. She felt safe again, like the lie had finally buried itself, like the miscarriage was the reset button. She started cooking more, smiling again. Said we should take a trip to clear our heads, but I wasn't grieving anymore. I was digging. While she slept, I replayed every voice memo I'd saved. Every whisper she didn't know I recorded. Like the one where she laughed on the phone to her friend and said, "He's so dramatic, he actually brought me prenatal vitamins." I found the text's 2 screenshots from her group chat. One in particular made my stomach flip. He bought it. Hook, line, and baby bump. I pulled doorbell cam footage from the cloud. Watched her walk out in leggings, flat stomach, holding a padded belly insert in a tote bag. Another clip showed her tossing a used pregnancy pad into the outside. Trash still wrapped in packaging. It wasn't just deception anymore. It was evidence, cataloged at all organized folders on a hard drive. Made backup copies on encrypted USBs, just in case. Then I called a lawyer. I didn't even know what I was asking for at first. Legal protection, defamation prep, emotional abuse documentation. He listened, then said, "If you can prove malicious intent, especially if she caused emotional distress or tried to manipulate you for financial or reputational gain, you've got something real here." That night, I stared at my reflection in the dark window. I didn't even recognize the guy looking back, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going to be her secret anymore. A week later, I told her I wanted to host a dinner. "Our families have been through a lot," I said softly. "With everything that's happened, I think we should bring everyone together, just to say thank you for the support." She blinked, surprised. Then her lips curled into a smile. "I think that's a beautiful idea," she said. Closure would be good for everyone. Double quotes, closure. She really thought it was over, that I'd grieved and moved on, that we could sweep it all under the rug, light some candles, and pretend we'd survived something together. But I wasn't planning a dinner. I was planning the final scene of her performance. For days, I prepared. I edited audio clip snippets of her laughing about faking symptoms. Messages where she admitted she needed to keep me close. Even that voice memo where she rehearsed her fake crying. I printed transcripts, highlighted the worst lines. organized photos and video stills from the doorcam footage, made clean copies. I even wrote a speech, not dramatic, not angry, just honest. I rehearsed it like a monologue, practiced until I could say it with a calm voice, steady hands, dead eyes. I booked the dinner at her parents' place. She insisted they'd want to host. I agreed, of course, smiled. Let her plan the menu. Let her decorate the table with little napkin rings and scented candles. The night arrived. Both families seated. Her father poured wine. Her sister hugged me. She looked radiant, back in control, the queen of her imaginary castle. But I sat there in silence, letting the air thicken. I could feel it coming. The collapse, it wasn't rage anymore. It wasn't even revenge. It was inevitability, the kind that settles in your chest like a storm building over the ocean, quiet, slow, unstoppable. Everyone had just finished dessert when I stood up with my wine glass. She was dabbing whipped cream from her lip, glowing like the dinner was her crowning moment. Her mother leaned in, asking if she needed help with the dishes. Her dad was talking about baby names, and then I said, "Before we end the night, I'd like to say something." Chairs shifted. Forks clinked. She looked up at me, smiling, trusting. "I want to thank you all for your support," I began. "But there's something you should know. Something I should have said weeks ago." I paused, looked her straight in the eyes. She was never pregnant. The room went still. Her mother's hand froze mid-reach. Her dad furrowed his brow. She blinked, laugh caught in her throat. "That's not true," she snapped. "Why would you say that?" I pulled out my phone, pressed play. Her voice filled the room, recorded weeks earlier, laughing on a call. "He actually bought the baby thing." "I can't believe it worked," her sister gasped. Her father muttered, "No. No way." I placed printed screenshots on the table, her texts to her friends, the fake symptoms, the search history. Then photos, her flat stomach, the discarded pads, the fake bump in her tote bag. "This is insane," she whispered, pale now. "He's making this up. He's editing things." But then her brother leaned forward, picked up one of the transcripts. "Read it twice." He looked at her and said, "What the hell is wrong with you?" She shoved her chair back. "You're all crazy. He manipulated me. He wanted to leave, so he made this all up." No one moved. She looked at me, desperate, pleading, but I didn't flinch. And then she turned and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the picture frames shook. Silence settled, and no one said a word. The next morning, I packed my things. I didn't wait for her to come back. I didn't leave a note. Just grabbed my essentials, threw them into boxes, and called a buddy to help me move. By noon, I was gone. A clean exit, no goodbye, no closure. Just silence, she called. Twice. Then 4 more times. Left voicemail saying, I humiliated her, that I ruined everything. Said she only lied because she loved me so much and was scared to lose me. I didn't listen to the last few. I just blocked her. A day later, her mom texted me. I'm sorry, it read. We had no idea. Her dad called and left a voicemail that started with, Son, I owe you an apology, but I never called back. I didn't need their guilt. I wasn't doing this for forgiveness. I posted everything redacted, anonymous, unreddit. Every screenshot, every voice memo, every creepy detail of how far she went to control me. The title? My girlfriend faked a pregnancy to trap me. I played along and exposed her in front of both our families. The post blew up. Hundreds of comments. Thousands of upvotes. People shared their own stories of lies, of gaslighting, of emotional abuse hidden behind pretty smiles. I wasn't alone, and neither were they. I read every comment, every word of support. Every thank you for saying what I couldn't. And for the first time in years, I felt clean, not good, not healed, but free. She lied to keep me. I told the truth to free myself. And just like that, the pregnancy that never existed gave birth to the best decision I ever made.